Hello, and welcome to the Geofacets-GSL Millennium Edition webinar. My name is Jim Hamsky. I'm the Product Solutions Consultant for Geofacets. Here's the agenda for the webinar. First off, I'm going to introduce Elsevier. We're the company that developed Geofacets and have partnered with the GSL to bring you their content. We'll also talk a bit about why Geofacets was created and the challenges faced by geoscientists working in exploration and research. We'll go over how Geofacets works and what you're really doing when you perform a search in Geofacets. And most of our time will be spent in a product demonstration, as the best way to explain Geofacets is to show you its capabilities. After the product demonstration, we'll talk specifically about the GSL Millennium Edition and the content available. Geofacets is a product from Elsevier Science and Technology. If you aren't already familiar with Elsevier, we're the world's largest scientific publishing company. However, you probably know us already from our scientific journals. Those of you working in research will know some of these titles, such as Tectonophysics, Marine and Petroleum Geology, and various regional journals, such as the Journal of African Earth Science. In the past few decades, we've moved into databases and workflow solutions. Geofacets represents our goal of helping geoscientists find information and tackle the workflow challenges they face every day. Geofacets was specifically requested by geoscientists working in resource exploration. We talked to over 200 geoscientists in the development phase of Geofacets. What they told us is that there is a lot of high-quality information in scientific publications, but it is difficult to find content that is embedded in articles, especially when searching for geospatial information. So let's contrast the typical workflow geoscientists face when using scientific literature compared to using Geofacets. Traditionally, you're going to query a text-only search engine that will return results as a list, or maybe you'll go to relevant journals you already know and search manually. Either way, this process involves a lot of sifting through search results, most of which won't be relevant to your project. Once you've found interesting papers and things that are relevant to your work, you can go ahead and read the research publication. However, if you want to use any geospatial information, say to compare your own field research, you're going to need to extract that map as an image file and then georeference. The Geofacets workflow is much simpler. We've designed a geographic and text-based search methods that are specifically tailored for geoscientists. In Geofacets, you can search for all the content in a given area, then focus the relevant search results using metadata refinement methods. Or you can perform a text-based search and then refine your results geographically. This will all be demonstrated once we hop over to Geofacets. Another workflow improvement in Geofacets is how accessible both the scientific document and the map file themselves are. The information discovered in Geofacets doesn't just stay in Geofacets, it's very portable, so you're able to download georeference maps and import them into the Geographic Information System, or GIS, that you use. So we specifically designed Geofacets for use by geoscientists, and we see our customers typically use it to enrich scientific analyses, develop geologic analogs, and to stay up to date on the latest earth science research. Very often, their work is in exploring for natural resources, such as hydrocarbons, minerals, and ores. It greatly accelerates productivity of geoscience teams, so rather than having to go to a specific data manager to, say, pull all the given research information for an area, all this work can be performed by the geoscientist in an efficient manner. Note that we do have a Geofacets Corporate Edition. This is a really large content base that includes content from Elsevier's Earth Science journals, the Geological Society of London, also the Society for Sedimentary Geology, the Society of Economic Geologists, and the Geological Society of America. However, the presentation today and all the demonstration you'll see later are all performed in the GSL Millennium Edition. Geofacets is a map-based search tool, and these maps are sourced from scientific publications. On the left of the current slide, you see a page from a typical geoscience publication. We have a map at the top and a data graphic at the bottom. In this case, it shows a geologic timescale. What we do is we extract that map as an image file and place it in a database. Once it's in the database, we add metadata, meaning that we tag each map with its subject and map type. We determine the area of coverage. We see what geologic basin it lies in. We also look at some geographic attributes. So we determine if the map can be georeferenced, and if it can, we do georeference it. And then we take that information about the projection and coordinate system and include that in the metadata. We also determine what region of the world and what country the map lies in. One thing to note is that we can't georeference all the maps, typically because the author chose to leave off geographic information that would be necessary to georeference it. This means that we couldn't find reference points, or possibly the map is hand-drawn. In those cases, the map is geolocated based on the context of the article. In all, approximately 70% of the map content in Geofacets is georeferenced. The metadata associated with the maps in Geofacets is powerful for searching and filtering your results. So not only can you view it here in the detail window, but you can perform a search, then refine your results based on applicable metadata. Very often, users want to display the maps from a scientific paper in GIS. Since we've already extracted and georeferenced the maps, you can immediately download the majority of Geofacets content as a GeoTIFF and move on to analysis. Now, I'm going to head over to the Geofacets-GSL Millennium Edition, and we'll go through its core functionality. So the first thing to notice here as we start out at the Geofacets homepage is that I'm accessing it in a standard web browser. In this case, I'm using Mozilla Firefox, but we also support Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, all the standard web browsers. There's no installation or plugin needed to access Geofacets. You can see this logo here in the upper left of the screen. That's the button you can click at any time to be brought back to the Geofacets home screen. We have two text-based search boxes here. We'll get to those in a little bit. For now, let's focus on the base map. If you've ever used Google Earth or Google Maps, this should be a fairly familiar interface. You can click and drag the map, also use your mouse's scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can also pan and zoom using the buttons here on the left-hand side. And also there's a zoom in box and a zoom out box on the top navigation bar. We can modify the base map and show some different informational overlays. The one that I use the most is the hybrid base map. It shows national boundaries and some geographic identifiers. We also have high-level oil and gas commercial metrics from Wood Mackenzie, the Robertson Sedimentary Basin overlay, and also the IHS Worldwide Sedimentary Basins map. The IHS Worldwide Sedimentary Basins map is fairly important to Geofacets because we've gone through and tagged all the maps with the basin that they intersect with. We'll demonstrate this during the geographic metadata search in a little bit. I'm going to start by demonstrating the simplest way to search in Geofacets. That's the search by location tool. So first I'm going to go ahead down here, turn on the hybrid base map, and then navigate to the North Sea. In order to perform a search by location, I go up this top navigation bar, click on the search by location tool, then head back to the base map. I can then draw a box here in the area that I'm interested in and release. And what I've just done is I've queried the Geofacets content base for all the maps with a center point within that box. So you can see here that result set is 452 maps, and they come from 115 different documents. I can view these search results in two places. Here on the base map, and you can see that these maps are clustered, and the number represents the number of maps with a center point about that cluster. The maps are also featured down here in what we call the results pane as thumbnails. So if I go ahead and click on a cluster up here, it brings up the detail window that shows us a picture of that map. I could also get to the detail window by going back to the results pane, looking at the thumbnails, picking one that looks interesting, and clicking on it. So from the detail window, we get basic bibliographic information, including the article title, name of the journal that it came from, and also a picture of the map with its caption. We can navigate through that results set up here in the upper right-hand corner using previous and next. And if we determine that a particular map and the article that it came from is interesting, we can view the rest of the maps in that article by hitting previous and next. It's very easy to access the text of this article right from the detail window. We have a link here to a read-only PDF. So you can go ahead and click that. It'll bring open a new window. And in that window, you'll be able to read the entire article. However, you cannot print this or you can't save it and send it to a colleague. It's only viewable inside Geofacets. If you want to be able to print the article or email it or something like that, we do have a link to the Lyell collection where you can enter your own subscription information or purchase the article. Finally, over in the lower left-hand side, we have the download options. This map is georeferenced, so you can download it as a GeoTIFF. You could also download it as a GeoTIFF plus an XML file. That XML file contains bibliographic information, a copy of the abstract, and is specifically formatted to be viewed in Art Catalog. We also have the option of downloading any map in Geofacets as a JPEG. This is a great file format if you want to use the map inside a presentation or document. So all you do is you go ahead and select the file type you want and then click download. There's a few more tabs to view at the detail window. There's the metadata tab. It contains all the metadata that this map has been tagged with. So you can see here some basic information about the area of the map, its map type and subject. Also some information about the coordinate system that it was georeferenced in. And finally, you can see the geographic metadata tags, including the region, country, and basin that this map lies in. The article info and abstract tab is pretty self-explanatory. It's a place you can go to read the article's abstract and get more of that bibliographic information. The image permissions tab includes a link to our terms and conditions that specifies what you're allowed to do with a map from Geofacets. And finally, we have the original image tab. This tab shows exactly how the map looked inside the article. So sometimes the map image and original image tab are going to be really similar. However, sometimes a map is, say, one of a series, so it's map A of A, B, C, and D. In those cases, you'll be able to view the original image tab and determine how that map looked in the context of the paper. So now I'm just going to get out of the map detail window and point out the fact that this result returned almost 500 maps and is really impractical to actually go through each and every single one of these maps to determine what's relevant. That's where the search facets in Geofacets become really powerful. We have several of these that we could use. The first is just a text box. So we can go ahead and type in any text string there, and we'll return the maps that have that word or that text string associated in their article title, abstract, map captions, author-supplied keywords. We can also limit our search results to only those that are georeferenced. We can limit based on map subject, map type, the area of the map, its sedimentary basin, the author names, the author-supplied keywords, and in the Millennium Edition, also the source title. The publisher content source and publication years are going to be limited in the Millennium Edition. However, we can go ahead and look at particular source titles such as Petroleum Geoscience or just the Geological Society memoirs. For now, let's go ahead and look at map type. Everyone who has a particular subspecialty is going to be interested in some map types more than others. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and limit our search results to ISOPAC maps. Click the checkbox, head on up to Include. And what I've done is I've just refined our results to 37 maps. It's a much more practical number to go through. And these 37 maps are all going to be tagged with a map type ISOPAC. And they come from 17 different documents. If I go ahead and click on the Documents tab of the results pane, you can see it's just a different way of viewing these search results and jumping right into the article title and the name of the journal. And just as before, we have a link to the map detail window. and also a link to either the layout collection or a read-only PDF via the results pane. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to demonstrate a geographic metadata search. As I said before, we tag all the maps in Geofacets with a region, the countries, and the sedimentary basin that they intersect with. So this top search box is the geographic metadata search box. An interesting case is to go ahead and look at West Africa, a place I find really interesting, Angola. So Angola is the name of both an IHS Worldwide Sedimentary Basin map classification, and it's also the name of a country. So for now, we could go ahead and look at, we'll just look at Angola Basin, hit search, and you can see that that returns 129 maps, all that intersect with the area of the Angola Basin. One thing to note about the geographic metadata search is that you do need to insert a valid metadata tag, one that we've used in our content base. So if you go ahead and say, type in a US state, you're going to get no search results because we haven't included a US state as a metadata tag. Now the next text-based search method is freeform. You can input really anything you want here. And we call this the keyword search. What it does is it matches the text string that you type with the article titles, abstracts, author-supplied keywords, map captions, and author names. So I could type anything I'm interested in. Let's say I'm a petroleum geoscientist and I'm interested in source rock research. I'm going to put that in quotes so we look for an exact match of that string. Hit search. And Geofacets will return worldwide search results. These are all documents that have source rock in the map, in the article title, the abstract, the author-supplied keywords, the map captions. And this is really interesting because it shows that there's a variety of research on the topic source rock with worldwide coverage. This is useful if we're, say, developing geologic analogs or performing research into a specific research methodology. If I want to subsect these map results, I can always head to the base map, use search by location to draw a box, and now I've refined my search results to just those maps with a center point that lies within that box. The final search method to demonstrate is the advanced search. You can go ahead and it's similar to the keyword search, except we can specify what field we want to search in, and we could build a more complicated query using and, or not. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and type in the search term seismic. Just look at map captions. You can see that returns over 2,000 search results. These are maps that are located all over the world. And they have the word seismic in their captions. So we're going to see maps that show seismic transects, 3D seismic results, and maps that have topics, all which have the search term seismic in their caption. And once again, because this is a really large result set, we can always head over to the search facets and refine our search results. So that represents the core functionality of Geofacets. Just a few more things to point out. We do have links at the top and bottom of this Geofacets homepage. One I like to point out is a survey. So really encourage everyone, once they've used Geofacets for a few weeks, to go ahead and take that survey. It allows us to learn a bit more about our users and also solicit feedback so we can continually be improving the product. Finally, at the bottom of the screen, we have links to the privacy policy, terms and conditions, a link to contact the Geofacets team, and also a link to the Geofacets product website. If you head there, we have more training materials, such as tutorial videos, a user guide, and frequently asked questions. Now we'll head back to the presentation and go over some specifics about the Geofacets GSL Millennium Edition. The GSL Millennium Edition will be available starting January 1st, 2014. The cost is £35 per year for GSL members. This allows you to access Geofacets' unique search and discovery platform with a content base of over 24,000 geological maps sourced from articles published from the year 2000 to present. Of those 24,000 maps, 16,000 are downloadable as GeoTIFFs for easy integration into GIS software. Note that the GSL Millennium Edition contains a worldwide content base, and this matches the comprehensive worldwide scope of GSL LIL collection. To subscribe to the Geofacets GSL Millennium Edition, please send an email to the email address featured on the screen right now, and the GSL will follow up with you for further access and payment information. Finally, if you have any further questions about Geofacets, please visit elsevier.com/geofacets and send a question to the product team. Thank you for participating in this introductory webinar. We hope you have an enjoyable and productive year with the Geofacets GSL Millennium Edition.